In his weekly Famitsu column, Sakurai of Smash Bros. Fame says they may have gone overboard thus far in unveiling new Smash Ultimate fighters and alerts us that there may not be that many more left. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. Gabe is here, and this concerns me, Gabriel. We have 2.5 months till the game comes out, and Sakurai is saying that he may have gotten a little trigger happy. He says, quote, "We may have gone a little bit overboard up until now, so we're going to slow our pace from here on out. If you were thinking that we'd just be dropping a bunch of newcomer trailers all the way up until release, you'd be sorely mistaken."
Yeah, they have a lot of other stuff that they got to show. That spirits mode or whatever that mysterious mode ends up being has to come into play at some point. But yeah, how do you feel about the fact that we might only get like one or two more characters? I don't think we've seen everything. I think there's still one or two surprises, and that's pretty indicative there because he doesn't say that there's no more characters. He says that they're slowing it down, so one or two more reveals maybe is likely. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the very first thing you said of like they still have a lot of other stuff to reveal, do they? I think that's sort of the question. If there is a bunch more to reveal, then one or two more character trailers, cool. But it all kind of then hinges on how big Spirits Mode is, if that really is something as cool and as comprehensive as we're expecting. I do think the way it's worded is a little odd, and Sakurai puts tons of passion into these projects, we know that, and sometimes he's like a little bit misleading with what he says, but this one seems pretty straightforward. Like, hey, like definitely don't expect new characters every couple weeks. Just to kind of recap, we got 2 new fighters and 2 Echo Fighters at E3, and then since then we've got 2 more Echo Fighters and 3 more new fighters for a total of 9. So if you wanted to be really nice and neat about everything, 10 might be a nice number, but again, like to me, 1 character between now and December 7th just seems odd.
I think we're absolutely getting more than 1 character. I don't think that it matters that like 10 is like a neat number. I don't think Sakurai really cares. I also want to point out that when Smash was like first announced, the Ultimate was first revealed, Sakurai said, "Hey, don't expect that many like new characters." Right. And he says things, and sometimes it's to throw the fans off. And I'm not saying that's what I suspect he's doing here. I think he's very genuine this time, but yeah, for me, I think we're not getting less than 3 more characters, whether they be brand new or echoes, who knows, but I think we get at least 3 because there's just been so much about like Ken and other characters that like I can't believe all that's just fake, right? It could be, so but
if you look at just straight up new characters, we're at 5 right now, which to me seems like a little bit like that's not really that handsome of an amount to usher Smash Brothers into the Switch generation. And obviously they're bringing all the characters back. That's great. I don't know. I was hoping they'd do a similar lead up to what they had done previously, where there's just a bunch of trailers and a bunch of characters, and they really keep ramping this up. But that's not common for most other games, right? You see a game at E3, and it's not like it gets 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 new giant reveals before the game comes out. This is a fighter, so it's a bit of a different story. He goes on to say that we should be finishing up development soon, I hope, so that they really are wrapping things, and just talks about trying to balance all the characters, and that cool things must be cooler, cute things must be cuter, and it's been a very strange game to work on. It's chaos, he says, which is just his whole approach just fascinates me.
I mean, it has to be. Speaking of approach, how do you even begin to tackle something of this size? 70 plus characters, like hundreds of music tracks, like all the not all the stages, but the numbers of everything are just so inflated and so astronomical. How do you balance everything? How do you make sure everything's like fun and like unique and doesn't like get stale and boring? It has to be extremely daunting. I can't believe he's even like doing this, and all the returning characters and the assets being revamped and made to look better from stuff that we loved a long time ago. Like that stuff probably doesn't come easy, and I'm personally, and we spoke about this off air, I'm in the minority where like, hey, like if we get no more character reveals, and we are, don't worry, but if we don't get any more, I'm happy. Like the package is already
such a strange take.
The package is already like pretty freaking huge, and we don't know what Spirits Mode is, and again, I'm not worried that we're not going to get any more characters, so maybe that like plays into it a little bit. But in Street Fighter, right, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 get announced. It's not like we have like 10 new characters and there's a complete revamped roster or anything like that. We'll get a couple of additions and some like mechanical changes and story stuff, but that's it. We don't expect this from any other fighter except Smash. And now that they've given us literally everything ever as far as characters go, like why are we expecting like a dozen new characters? To me, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I guess to me, it ties into what else is there. And maybe we do have really grand expectations for the game. I just think the new characters are so fun, and they've set the standard of, like, such awesome excitement with K. Rool and with Simon and bringing in Isabelle to just kind of say, like, hey, it's stopping. We were overboard. Was it really that overboard? If this game didn't have everybody back, you'd absolutely not feel that way. It's the fact that it does have everybody back.
Of course. But that's a hypothetical. That's not the case.
Just to... for me personally, you're saying like, oh, it's fine to not have many. I'd be cool with this. The remixing of the past games doesn't do a whole lot for me. It's the new stuff that really is what I'm after and where I want to spend my time. So I then bank my hopes on Spirits Mode that is something that can deliver a big reveal or at least a big amount of content. I'm fine with there being only a couple more characters if that is sort of worthy of its own reveal / its own big portion of the game, and so that's where I look now is like, can Spirits Mode really kind of carry the weight the rest of the way, and will they even reveal it? How do they go about doing that? We speculated before, like, will there be one more Smash presentation? Will they just drop in a trailer? It doesn't seem like Nintendo's way to save it for launch, like, ooh, you just don't know what this is, so I fully expect we get some detail on that. I guess that would assuage a lot of the unease I have over saying that the characters are stopping. I also just think it's odd, like, I don't know if there's many other developers that are this just blunt and honest with their fan base of like, hey, guess what? You thought there would be more characters coming to release? A bunch of them? You're sorely mistaken. And I know he means it like in the best way, just to be honest and upfront with his fans, but just that like extreme clarity is, I think, very rare.
I mean, and there could be more behind it that, we're not even considering, right? DLC, we expect there to be some DLC just because Nintendo's pushed that a lot with Nintendo Switch, just continuing to support the games that they're releasing. So if they want to maybe save some of those characters, and I've asked you this, like, who's, like, left, really? Like, and I know there's still a lot of wants from people out there, but, like, realistically, who was left that like, Sakurai wants to put in Smash? Because that's a big part as well. Like, Sakurai maybe doesn't even want some of these people that we really want in Smash. Like, he doesn't maybe have the affinity for
I think there's so many options and so many things you can do, and there is an undertone here, a way of reading this that is, hey, DLC is going to be a thing, and therefore we need to cut it off because we have, our 5-fighter pack or whatever it is, 4 fighters, 6 fighters, saved for DLC.
I don't think we're getting a pack of fighters. Like, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but God.
You think it's one fighter? You don't think it's like season pass style with a couple?
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, and again, Gabe in the minority, like, how many characters do we, like, need?
But they're so different, and that's something that I think the movesets are so unique here that it doesn't feel like, oh god, it's overwhelming. It's meant to be a celebration and a party of all these different franchises.
We don't know the final number of characters. You don't think 85 characters is overwhelming?
In some ways, yes. And just to bring a little bit of statistics into the conversation from last time being Smash 4 on Wii U, they brought in, looks like, 3, 6, 7 DLC fighters.
But it wasn't all at once.
No, it was not all at once. Mewtwo released on April 15th, and Lucas and Roy and Ryu all came on June 14th around E3. Cloud was December 15th. Corrin
and
was
that's
February
what I'm
3rd,
saying. That's what I
well.
expect that. Like, something like that. I don't think, like, here, have 5 characters at once. Like,
no. I meant more from the style of
that's what you had said,
dude.
So that's why I was like, there's no way. Like,
a pack, like, hey, this one's going to come out over the next.
Then yes.
Yeah. So if that is what they're already planning for, and we have heard rumors that the Game Awards are going to announce that's going to be sort of Nintendo's cool reveal on it. Will probably tie into a third-party franchise, and those seem to be pretty substantiated rumors at this point, based on the sources that they're coming from. I would not think it odd that Nintendo does unveil Smash DLC around then. Perhaps, like, not that, they're trying to slight the main game, because you can't slight a main game that has, like you said, 75 characters or whatever, but that would definitely be a reason why they have to sort of call it quits on the pre-release trailers.
Yeah, see, so then I think we're kind of on the same boat then. I was just confused by your phrasing is all. Because like when you said like a pack of 5 characters all at once, like for DLC, I was like, well, no. I mean, maybe you didn't say all at once. You just said
I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
I think you really just want them all at once.
No,
projecting
I
your desires.
I definitely.
I think Smash is a far better game with far more characters. And if you're going to go all in, keep going all in. But I'm ready and wanting this Spirits mode to be something that can kind of go there as well. And you can read that as greedy or jaded or whatever. But you're making a game. New content's always great. DLC will be fun. There are so many wants. I think there are so many characters that people are still very excited for. And personally, like I find it very much a bummer that the head dude comes out and says like, you're sorely mistaken if you think there's going to be a bunch of new characters coming.
Just wait until he announces 5 characters next week, and he's just trying to throw you off the scent, Zach.
That would be magical, very unlikely. I also think it's interesting that he says he's gone overboard up until now, and maybe he's speaking more to the overwhelm of the entire game, like as a whole, like the roster as a whole. Because to me, since E3, 3 new characters in 3+ months, like that's not that crazy.
Yeah,
all.
I've said this a few times, and this isn't the time to worry about it. But can Nintendo ever make another Smash Brothers after this? Like what? Like where do you go from here?
I think it would have to be a restructuring of the formula, a change of the concept. I mean, a reduction of the roster down to like 45 or something would feel very silly. They have set themselves up to. There's going to be interesting conversations of what they do from here, and I don't know how you really come back from that.
Last thing I want to maybe touch on a little bit here, right? It's a little interesting to me how people don't treat Smash Brothers like a traditional fighter, and it isn't a traditional fighter. But if I go back to Street Fighter, King of Fighters, BlazBlue, and King like Tekken, any number of those things, right? The numbered series, they don't get like a ton of like new stuff. Like again, mechanics change and things like that, and we get some cool like maybe different visuals. But the roster for Street Fighter kind of doesn't expand, not at this pace.
No.
So the expectations, I guess, alone for Smash are maybe super unrealistic. And
I think no matter how you look at it, it is a jam-packed cartridge. Like the value at $60 is overflowing. That is something that I don't think can be denied at all. It's just they've set it up to be more of this like come one, come all, bring it in, try out all these different characters, all these different modes, all these different ideas, this celebration of Nintendo. And so from that standpoint, that's where I come from saying like, ooh, I want more characters. I want more reveals. We've got 2.5 months. Like, don't stop now.
But Zach, a lot of other games stop with the reveals.
Oh, I know.
2.5 months away. Like, hey,
absolutely.
Like again,
but it's a different standard on the positive side. It's a different standard on the negative side. That's just kind of the space that Nintendo operates. They have a bubble that seems to float apart from every other developer and publisher, and they've written their own rules and they've followed their own rules, and it creates these unique scenarios.
Sure.
So, guys and girls in the comments down below, how many characters is too many? And how many characters is too little? Does Sakurai's warning to stay sorely mistaken about hoping for tons of more characters bother you? Or are you fine with it? Have your favorites been unveiled? Are you cool getting Ridley and K. Rool, sort of the holy grails, and throwing an Animal Crossing representative and you're good? Does a lot of your hope hinge on Spirits mode and you're kind of more leaning on that side of the equation, hoping for details and depth there? Or are we all crazy and it's just great that everyone's back together and it's fine as it is with no new modes, no new characters? It's just this is now on Switch, take it where you go, and it's good.
Yeah, there's a new mode, Zach.
I know. I'm just saying. I think some people are just like, they're again, like it's sort of that Nintendo thing. Like some people are just glad it's on Switch.
Sure.
I'm glad that K. Rool is there. I promised myself as long as he was in the game, I'd be happy. So
yeah.
Sakurai, I will be happy for you, even if you do tell me that I'm sorely mistaken, which kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But hey, that's okay. We will keep you posted on what comes next. There's going to be something, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and from Sakurai. Maybe one day we can interview him. I've checked off Miyamoto. This is kind of the guy now that I want next, just because he's freaking fascinating. In the meantime, though, follow us on Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. And until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching, Have a fantastic day. Switch Force, out.